Okay, now, even though this is the offseason of the NBA, there have still been a few stories that we've missed here at Yay Basketball, and so very quickly, I mean, the speediest of speed takes are about to come through with some recent news, and that would be speed takes. Yeah. All right, Bob, Celtics new signing Danillo Gallinari tore his ACL and will miss the entire next season. Thoughts on the C's loss of the Rooster?
That's not a big deal. Honestly, that team had pieces in place that were essentially already Danillo Gallinari. And now with the addition of Malcolm Brogdon, like, they're going to be just fine. I don't see it being a long-term problem.
Justin?
I cockadoodle don't care about this at all. You can never play again. They're fine.
Trey?
I think they'll be fine, but it is a huge loss because he's a very consistent shooter from the field. From his whole career, he's been very consistent. So I think they'll be okay, but it is a loss.
The fear is that this is the same knee he tore his ACL in, I think the year was 2013, 14 maybe, or later, I believe. So he's going to probably It's going to be a tough recovery. As a guy, Trey, I mean, you've torn ligaments in your knee.
Dude, I don't know how they even get back on the court and get out there doing what they used to do.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah,
no, man. No.
So for Gallo's sake, I hope he comes back and he's all right. But for the Celtics' sake, yeah, I mean, because they didn't have him last year, it's not like they're adapting to a loss. They're just loss of an addition. So it ends up being null and void. So
for sure.
All right. After his felony drug charge was reduced to a misdemeanor, Montrezl Harrell signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. Bob, how much does this help Philly?
Oh, he would. Honestly, like the 76ers, it will help them ultimately. They don't need necessarily size, but they need that dog and they need that defense. And I think Montrezl Harrell helps bring that to them.
Justin?
Yeah, I think if he stays on the court, helps him a lot.
Okay, Trey?
I think it adds depth to Philly. I mean, behind Joel Embiid, they have Paul Reed, which is who's that. They need the size. They needed to bring him in. He's a good addition.
Yeah, I think that when the Lakers tried to make him like their sixth man was when he, they would put him in lineups with LeBron. And they tried to get too much out of Montrez. His best seasons were with the Clippers, where he was a bench player, a role player. In Philly, he will be that, and I think he can maximize that backup center role. So I'm excited to see what him and the addition of PJ Tucker can do mentality-wise and grit-wise for Philly. Yeah. Back to Boston we go. Rumors are swirling that Carmelo Anthony might sign with the C's to help lessen the loss of Gallinari. Bob, is this the move for Melo?
I love that. I think now with actually Danny Ainge out of the picture, maybe Melo would want to move into that role. I don't know if there's any bad blood between them, but let's be honest, Danny Ainge,
Danny Ainge is in Utah.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Like now being in Utah, I think maybe that opens the door for some players who didn't exactly want to work with him. So
sure.
I like that.
Justin?
I guess at this point in time, I would just prefer it if Melo stops playing basketball. Okay. I think you're hurting.
Why?
Eventually you hurt your legacy by just jumping.
Yeah, of course.
Jumping. So for me, as a Melo person, like the Melo I remember was the New York and the Denver Melo that was just scoring on everyone at will. And so now we're getting this other Melo that I don't like anymore.
Trey?
I think that's the guy that I thought about when they said that Danilo got hurt. I think it's a good addition. He averages 13 to Danilo's 11. He shoots 37.5% from the three to Danilo's 38.
Great stats.
So I feel like they complement each other well. I feel like it's kind of like a replacement. I feel like that's the best fit.
And the big thing is that the Celtics are going to use the exemption on Danilo, so it's pretty much free money. But they could still sign Melo for the vet minimum, so they could have more money to go out and get a guy at waiver time whenever the buyout market happens. So
this kind of feels like Shaq.
Maybe a Rondo.
But I feel like maybe. Maybe a guy like Rondo.
Bring
Rondo back to Boston. I like that idea, Trey.
People would love that.
Yeah.
But
all right.
I mean, finish your career there. Exactly what Shaq did.
This is a juicy one, but we need to try to keep it quick here, boys. Okay. On Friday, Shams tweeted that the NBA and NBA Players Association are working to finalize the structure for a mid-season tournament in which cup games take place in November 8 teams advance to a single elimination game in December, with the other 22 teams continuing with the regular season, and all games being part of the normal 82-game schedule, with 1 game extra for the final 2 teams. So those 2 teams would play 83 games. Bob, thoughts?
That's the big thing, is that only 2 teams will play an extra 1 to 2 games.
Just one. It will only be one game.
Exactly. I have criticized pro-ams and summer league games and stuff like that for all these professionals before. It leaves that opportunity up for more injuries. I love this tournament. Like, that's, I think, I didn't even think about that. So whoever did, obviously, is getting paid more than me, and I love it.
Justin.
I hear it. We talked about it a little bit off. Like, I just don't really care about it that much, unless you like did the champion on Christmas Day, and made that the big situation. What could be cool is like the last 3 games are played that day. So you gotta play. The two champions got to play twice in a day. Like they play basketball, they're fine. They're gonna get hurt. Don't play that much basketball.
Yeah, but this ain't baseball.
Like, they'll be fine.
And I think you would want to avoid that because you'd want to incentivize them to play hard, which they are coming up with ways to incentivize. I know that was kind of your hang-up on it, was will they care? Well, they're working on a plan to make them care, and I think that the doubleheader idea, which isn't a terrible idea.
It would make them care a little
I just think it's unreal.
I don't want to do that.
Right. I think that would be a little unrealistic. Trey, thoughts on the midseason tournament?
I don't really know what to think about it. I don't really like the change-up. I kind of like sticking with what I know. I like how it's been.
But let me say this. So the what you know, typically in the months of November and December, or at least early December before Christmas happens, is, you know, teams are kind of getting into a rhythm. You saw the Boston Celtics, who went to the finals last year. What was their record by the end of November? It was like 3-11 or something like that. I don't know the numbers exactly. Then they went on this crazy run. I mean, teams kind of gelling, teams kind of finding their fit. It means, I mean, we just saw it like 15 years from now, we're going to be saying, oh, this person has 5 Western Conference Finals MVPs. And 2 years ago, we would have been like, that's stupid. Who cares? And it'll be a thing to add to the resume. And 25 years from now, we might be saying, this person has 3 finals or 3 NBA championships, but they have 2 midseason tournament championships or something. And I know it won't ever be the same, but it's something to keep energized for that middle of the season, that grog, because Christmas Day hits. And then we care, and that's the exciting day, and then it's All-Star break, then it's free agency, then it's 20 games left of the season, and then it's who's seeding, and then it's playoffs, and it's finals, and then it's free agency, and it just is an annual cycle of excitement instead of this like drudging time that we always end up going through. So I'm a big fan of it. I hope they call it the Silver Cup because Adam Silver has been a big proponent of it. And also, it would accurately represent what it is. It is not a first place trophy. It is a silver medal. Good job. You got a regular season award for a regular season team. So